Has Sony made PlayStation too Western? That is a concern that people have been having because ever since Sony went moved their move or PlayStation, I should say, not Sony, moved their headquarters over to Los Angeles. They've been taking a shift, and now we had to close down Japan studio, all this other stuff, and yeah, it's kind of troubling. It's almost like they're losing their identity in a way, So,
Well, according to people in the motherland, they did. They turned their backs.
oh, have
That
Japan,
move, that
yeah,
move was enough. Remember, they were talking about they had poor sales and all this stuff.
yeah, yeah. So even the Japanese were not happy about that. So, yeah, what do you guys say, man? I'll go with Carlos first.
I think so. I they just do they even have any Japan studios anymore? Like not the name Japan studios, but actual studios in Japan that are first party.
I mean, because that's the thing, they're focusing all on their Western stuff. Naughty Dog, Santa Monica, Sucker Punch, you
Sucker
know.
Punch, Insomniac,
Yeah, like those are the guys they focus on. They're like, what about the Japanese studios?
and they're
You know?
great.
Yeah,
They're great studios, but man, Japan studios was they had great games. Maybe they didn't make as much money as the other ones, but uh, man, Gravity Rush,
yeah,
uh, all of the eco games and stuff. So man, it's unfortunate. I wish they had sort of both. Even if it's, I don't mind it being too Western centric, but I think like they don't really have a Japanese identity anymore.
no, they
Other
don't.
than
They
don't.
really don't. You're right about that. I know they have a new Japanese studio called Asobi, but we got to see what they produce. But that's the thing. It's like, okay, if you're making so much money off your Western studios, then let those fund the little Japanese ones. Man, you're
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, what the hell?
That's crazy. You came in at a good time though, Manny.
Yo, Japanese games? What we talk about?
Has Sony become too Western, or PlayStation become too
Yes.
Western?
Yes, I agree.
All right. No, just give us your thoughts.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, they literally have. I mean, because they moved their worldwide headquarters to the United States, so a lot of the overhead is more Western than it is
Yeah.
Japanese currently. Japan area is seen as as a branch as opposed to the main location. The biggest sign of that is the fact that Jim Ryan does not speak Japanese.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
All of the previous heads of PlayStation, with have all been able to speak Japanese. Meanwhile, Jim Ryan, who did address to during the Japanese PlayStation Awards, he was reading Japanese or something off of something else, as opposed to all of the previous guys being
Yeah,
fluent in Japanese.
Sean Lady knew Japanese too, I believe.
Oh hell
Yeah,
yeah, he
yeah,
spoke
yeah.
Japanese. In fact, during he was during his little thing, he was he did his addresses for the PlayStation Awards in Japanese. When speaking to Hideo Kojima, he spoke Japanese.
Yes, right.
No, they were. There
Our
was a
boy Andrew House knew Japanese too.
Andrew House knew Japanese, so yeah, they knew it. So I think that's what happened once they moved it over to there. I think it may have to do with the fact. I think the Western market ended up doing a lot better for that for that division, for the PlayStation division. I think that they decided to move it over to the West because of that.
Yeah.
Whereas the Japanese market wasn't really doing the numbers that they were. They're like, all right, let's just move it to there. A lot of times, a lot of other studios tend to move their headquarters around like that, especially when they're a big worldwide company like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious they become more Western.
Well, I mean, to be honest, and then they just the sad repercussion of that is that you lose the Japan studio division, or at least all the people within the Japan studio division, to do these sorts of that made those sorts of games, those sort of games, extra games that they sort of made. So yeah, I mean, the only problem with it wasn't. There's also been a lot of issues with them moving over to the United States, where I think the Japanese were quite angry about
They were, yeah.
about one of those those awards or played state of plays or something like that not being properly localized in English or Japanese or anything like that, or the translation was off, something like that, which is that's not good stuff. I mean, especially since the previous stuff that they've been able to provide, perfect Japanese support. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
So they have definitely become a Western-centric company. And if you look at all the games that they're putting out, they're all Western-centric games, with the exception of Demon's Souls, which is, obviously it's sort of a reconfigured version of an old game that, of older Japanese game, but it's a very, the Western audience has accepted that game now. And I feel like a lot of the, we talk about the Sony, the PlayStation formula,
Yeah, that game does not have that.
No, but I'm saying, like, we talk about the Last of Us's and the Uncharted.
The big cinematic games.
The big cinematic games. Those are the sorts of Western-centric sort of games. I know.
Oh yeah, I think we need to expand. Sony's become definitely more Western, or just PlayStation, become more Western for sure.